what do women want? Well, it's like, and honestly, I'm really fucking in the middle of it. I'm like, I'm both sides. I'm not, not for men, not for women. I'm for the right. So that's why when I'm coaching individuals, it is about helping the individual be the best versions of themselves so they don't hold judgment on anyone else. Okay. So what do women want? So most women, we can tap into our emotions really easy because that's just, we're built that way. Yep. Men, as you know, men are built to not show emotions, which is a fucking skew.
I don't know if they're not built to not show emotions. We're
programmed
with that from society.
Exactly. Not
boys
built.
Don't cry. Don't be a little bitch. If a girl sees you like that, what do you think she's going to think of you? Yeah. We get told not to be vulnerable by the people that were before us because that's what they got taught. It's only because they've been taught that by the people before them that now it's been carried down the line. But I feel like there is a big shift happening where men are becoming more vulnerable, but they're struggling with that because they don't know how to feel.
We're here.
We're fucking on. Legends, welcome to another episode of the Interchange Podcast, and thank you again for joining us for another week. Before we go any further and I introduce our beautiful guest, I do have a very small favour to ask, and that is if you have been enjoying the content, even just the slightest little bit, if you can go and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to share this with just one of your friends, because as you know, the more eyes and ears we get on the podcast, the bigger and better guests I can bring for you guys, and the more value we're going to be able to deliver. But over to today's guest, I am joined by the lovely Rhiannon Oloughlin, who was born in Liverpool, Sydney, then relocated to Sunshine Coast, but is now located on the Gold Coast. She is the modern day Cupid who is helping men and women to find love in the modern jungle. So Riri, thanks for coming on, girl.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited. The modern jungle. How's that? I do like the modern jungle, because it is a jungle out there.
It, honestly, the dating world especially. Yeah. Like I've done the Tinder thing, I've done the fucking, online apps and all that sort of stuff. And even just, meeting people in general. Yeah. Especially clubs, pubs, all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. It is a fucking jungle.
I grew up in the jungle, actually. Liverpool was a bit of a jungle.
Was it? Yeah, right.
Yeah, so the journey. Fitting. Yeah, it is.
Cool. So give me a little bit more of a rundown, I guess, about what got you into the relationship coaching and dating side of things, because you're running your own events now. Mm-hmm. You've obviously got the speed dating that you run, which was originally at Henchman here on the Gold Coast, but is now at Cali Beach. What a venue, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, if you haven't been to Cali Beach, you have to go. Yeah, it's a bit of a vibe. And they do like a winter wonderland now too, so it doesn't matter if the sun's not shining. It's still a good time.
Yeah. Like, what got you into this? Okay, cool. Well, where was the passion born?
All right, so I'll tell you about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I had just finished my NLP course, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and it was just out of COVID, right? So, COVID was a time where the world was just fucking insane. And
wasn't it just?
Mm-hmm, it really was. So, you had to, you just had to survive. Yep. So when we were allowed to escape our houses, I studied, right? So then I was sitting, meditating and doing this journaling. And when I was a really little girl, I used to have this little picture that I used to draw. Right, and it was a heart with hair. So, and I just got goosebumps when I think about it. So, this little heart with hair, it was just one of those things I drew, and I never had any reason to why I did it. I just loved it. Right. So then, in my meditation 3 years ago, I had this whole connect of the dots of my purpose of love. Right. And it just took me back to that very first time that I drew this little heart with hair, and I'll draw it a little bit later for you so you can actually see what it looks like.
Yeah.
So from my tumultuous upbringing, from not getting love to then, again, where do we start? I didn't have look, I'm not even going to go into that yet because I want to go back to the 3 years ago story, right? Yeah. So it was a PT, loved all that, but then what I find with clients is that everyone just wants to have a chat because you're in PT, right?
I was.
Yeah.
Previously, yeah.
So remember when you were coaching, everyone just wants to have a yarn.
Yeah, you're literally the relationship coach already.
Yeah.
You're the mental health coach. You're the things going on at work coach. You got to put all the hats on.
You really do, right? But then I just kind of got a little bit bored from PT. So then did my studies and then had this whole realization moment with heart with hair. My life goal is love. Like my purpose is love. I love connecting. I love bringing people together. But I like doing things in a really fun, obscure way, right? So started my coaching and that the relationship coach I kind of moved into relationship coaching because what you find when you're healing others, you tend to be healing yourself at the same time.
Yes, right. And the thing is, you're not working with you today or people who are in front of where you are. You're working with the person that you used to be.
Correct.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was actually working with the person, that I used to be, but also was still transitioning. I didn't know. A lot's changed in the last 3 years. So I was dealing with a lot of trauma, right? So at the start, it was a lot of trauma. That is my upbringing. That's my life. It's, and I think that's why I'm such an empath, because I just see the world for how it is. But I don't judge. Like, just be a good fucking human is how I look at things, right? It's pretty simple. So teaching, like doing trauma, and then I realized everyone's seeking the same fucking thing.
Yes.
And it's love, right? It's love. And love, whether it's internal or external or, it's just love. So I'm like, what can I do with this? So this is a joke. It was a full-on joke. I was there. I think I put something on what did I learn? Okay, so when a woman's on the contraceptive pill, we know that her hormones aren't secreting correctly, right? So we can't essentially smell a man's pheromones, right? So I was like, what about if we had this, I had this idea, what about if we, again, I didn't really think about the nuts and bolts of women still being on the pill. Anyway, I was like, yeah, right. So you can only come to this event if you're not on the pill. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. So anyway, I was like, you know what? I need to do an event where we blindfold women and we get them all to smell a man's pheromones and try to connect them based off their scent. And I put it on my story, and Jared from the Henchman was like, oh, you read that? Like, sounds like a pretty cool idea. And that's where the whole speed dating thing started, right?
Yeah, so it was like blind speed dating.
Well, COVID was still a fucking kind of a thing, and you couldn't, like, you had to
how can you smell each other when you're a minute and a half away?
Yeah, right?
Fucking
what
COVID,
the
man.
fuck is that bullshit? So anyway, we just come up with a whole speed dating idea, and that's where the concept of the dating event started, right?
Yeah.
But then still in my coaching realm, I was just connecting the dots of, whether even in relationship coaching, we always have to start with the individual. No matter what, because you need to help yourself and love yourself we've heard that before. You need to love yourself to receive love. So, that's kind of where it all started, essentially. Right. If you got that.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So it was a bit of a vision that you had, but that was due to the work that you were doing through yourself. And obviously due to trauma and things that you went through as a young woman.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna get real fucking woo woo because I love science based shit, but I'm also very woo woo as fuck. And
I call it spiritual because that's everything around us is energy, right?
It is. Thank you.
Everything around us.
Spiritual. Yeah. However, it was the 3 years ago in my meditation when I did the Heart with Hair that I was visited by aliens.
Okay.
And I knew that they were aliens because I just knew. 5 beings came at the end of my bed, and I was in this stage of like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? Like, what the fuck am I doing? And one of them put out his hand. I say his, I'm interpreting as a male. It was, and they gifted me with love. And it was this whole thing. I grabbed it, put it in my heart. And from that day forward, I just knew this whole thing was love, right? Now, I want to go into a little bit more science-based in this space with aliens because people are going to be like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? Who are like just not...
on crack.
She on crack, maybe. It's coffee, by the way.
The old me.
Yeah, that's the old me. It is. No, it's not. No, joking, it is. So...
We can say that on here.
I know. And she's moving a lot too, so maybe I am. But here's some science for you. Now, the rhesus monkey, so the A+, the blood types, right? So the plus bloodline is originated from the rhesus monkey, right? But the negative bloodline don't have an origin yet. So it's meant to be extraterrestrial, and I'm in the negative bloodline. So
what type of blood are you?
I'm A negative.
Okay, yeah.
What are you?
B.
Oh, negative?
Yeah.
All right, so no wonder we've got aliens in the room. Holy shit!
Going down.
There we go. The aliens are here, guys. So
Put your tinfoil hats on, guys.
we should. Fucking hell. That's so you're really rare. You're really rare. So I think we can only receive from our blood types. Moving into the blood
type.
type.
That's right, but we can help other people. I think we can transfuse to many other blood types. Is that right?
Oh no, I think it's only the O. In the O negative is the one that can give to everyone.
Fact check that because I did look this up the other day. I did a blood type. I only did my blood type test probably like 2-3 weeks ago.
Interesting.
Like that.
Do you want to know something more interesting?
Yeah,
so for women, to myself, if I was to procreate with a man who was in the plus bloodline, and because I'm negative, if we procreated, my blood tries to fight his blood, which means...
So you got to get like injections.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so it's the same with my partner. Conversation,
Oh, no shit.
She's O negative maybe? On the real ones? Yeah.
Negative household.
Yeah,
so there you go. That's the whole connected with the aliens. And but so from that day as well, going back to that, I was told to meditate to my alien. So and what's an alien, right? We didn't define alien.
That's right. It's just something we don't know.
Correct.
Or recognise. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
There we
Crazy.
go. Off topic, but back.
No, we're there.
I know.
So that's where obviously the breakthrough for you happened to find your purpose with doing this, I guess, love and relationship coaching.
Yeah.
So something you mentioned was that as a young girl, you didn't get the love that you needed or didn't receive love. So I guess, can you run through, I guess, a bit about what it was like growing up for you as a young girl, and I guess how that then shaped you to become the woman you are today?
Yeah. So dad left when I was 2. He wasn't really in my life. Used to, moved overseas and used to promise me as a child once a year to get presents like at Christmas or twice a year, birthday and Christmas, which is nice. But every year was promised that he'd fly me over and never did. So I used to cry the same cry every year of him abandoning me. And
the abandonment wounds, right?
The abandonment, the daddy issues. It's a thing. It really is a thing. And there's this whole journey of me reconnecting with the masculine, which I'll talk about it in a little while, from that experience as well. So, and my mom, bless her soul, honestly, like I have so much love for my mom. She's a kind soul, but she, was fucked up back in the day. She had drug problems. It was heroin. And an alcoholic. And, I remember when I was, younger than 7, like banging on my mum's door and she was in the room shooting up. And I just remember like just not having love. Like I was obviously wanting something then.
Yeah,
and
you were craving that attention. You needed that familiar person to go, hey, like you're okay.
Yeah. And then having to be looked after while, she was getting better, and she did, right? And she is better these days. But it was just this whole thing, Mum, like most women that are traumatized, they're seeking love. And she was seeking love of a man. So, in and out of relationships, and was putting the love that she was seeking before the love for her children. Right. And at the time I didn't know any better. I just knew that I wanted this thing, right? So it was obviously as I was getting a little bit older that things started to be more obvious. Yeah. So I think for me, I've always felt weird and different to the world and not seen. And I had to go through the whole trial and tribulations of being a teenager. And my mum,
misunderstood, right?
Massively misunderstood, and them being highly sexualized, getting my boobs going in Zoo and Ralph, and then seeking attention from men in that other way, right?
That external validation, right?
Yeah. But really, I really needed to be saved, and I didn't know how it was going to happen, and I hated the fact of being in that space. And it's funny because now I am back in that space, kind of in a way with OnlyFans, which I'll talk into, which I don't do porn online, by the way. It's just naked bodies. So, but my relationship with myself is different to how it was back then, right? So yeah, that whole journey, and I was in a long relationship with my ex, who's beautiful, but he also that relationship fucked me up as well. He was the first man that I told all my things to, and then he used to use it against me in arguments. He was older as well, but at the same time, like I've told this story because I've had to let it go. Yeah. And we've reconnected. We're actually we're at a great I respect you as a human type of thing, because he was fucked up and so was I. Trust me, if you knew me.
People hurt people, right?
Yeah, and that was me. I was actually, I was never a bad person, but I was so fucked up. Yeah. Like, I remember a story. We had gone to the gym together, and we took separate cars, and then he was like, I'll meet you at home. I get home, cook us dinner. And I'm like, where is he? Try to call him, his phone's off. I get in the car. I'm driving around the streets, bawling my eyes out. I'm infuriated. I think this man's cheating on me. And I'm like, where the fuck are you? And then he still wasn't obviously answering. I'm calling his mates. So this is me. I'm 22, right? Yeah. You would not think that I'm like that now. I'm not like that at all. Yeah. And then he gets home, and I'm like, by this stage, I'd cooked this dinner, and I'm like, where is this guy? Cooked this dinner. He gets in the driveway, and he's got 2 plants. He's just been to Bunnings. And I'm like, where the fuck have you been?
And he goes, full rage mode.
I was ready to go ham, like go hammer and tongue. And he goes, I was just at Bunnings and my phone died. And I was like, he goes, whoa. And I couldn't calm myself down. I thought he was doing the dirty on me and he was cheating, right? So when I say that relationship was so important for me, but he fucked me up a lot because I needed to be fucked up. In a way,
you needed to be actually shown, hey, like you needed this shit to be mirrored back to you to be like, okay, cool, there's stuff here I need to work on.
Correct. Yeah.
This is why relationships are such a beautiful thing, right? Relationships, having kids as well, like especially for myself, like the stuff that you thought you've worked through, it's just like they become a mirror.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay,
yeah.
when you can let go of that ego for a second, which is fucking so hard for us as human beings, and step back and go, right, so that was probably actually me. That was probably something I need to work through. It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. Every single one of these experiences is a lesson.
It is. And that's, I think, why I'm so passionate about this space now, because I can completely understand. But it was all me. Like, you know, I used to have this fake ego where I used to pretend I had it all together. Right? I hated anyone knowing that I grew up in housing commission. Hated anyone knowing my upbringing. I went to the ARIA Awards when I was 20. And I remember I'd walk the red carpet because I knew, you know, when you're doing Zoo and Ralph, you kind of did some TV work back then. You know, you were like, I was like the it thing.
Eating a bit, right?
Eating a bit. And I thought I was I was the cool cunt, right? I thought I was so awesome.
Fit, right? That's significance need, right?
Yeah. And I remember the after party was at, so the ARIA Awards, and the after party was at, what's that rooftop bar in Sydney? Ivy,
yeah.
And I'm at the bar, and this man had been eyeing me off the whole time, and he comes over and he introduces himself, and then he goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Liverpool." The moment his nose just turned straight up at me, and he turned around because he's like, "Ugh, Liverpool." And it was just this whole facade I used to live in. This whole facade. So I hated anyone knowing about all my things.
Yeah.
Now I obviously don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. And
this many fucks.
This many fucks, right? That many.
Yeah.
So that journey with that relationship was very important. And
sure.
you know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be living in Queensland. So there's a lot of things, you know. And I just lost my train of thought. Boom.
All good.
Yeah.
Sweet. So obviously you've been doing the work now for quite a long time. Where was actually the turning point for you? Was it that relationship, or was there something else after that relationship that was like almost like that mic drop moment? It's like, bitch, you need to change, or things are going to stay the same? Like,
yeah, the moment that I left that relationship was the moment that everything changed.
Yeah.
But it's been a journey. I was riddled with anxiety for at least a year and a half after that, because I just lost myself. I didn't know who I was. If I showed you an old video of mine, and I know you've been following me since Caloundra days, my voice even sounds different.
Yeah.
My conviction is like I'm bang on today, where before, and it wasn't wrong, but I was learning and I just didn't know any better.
You're in that process, right?
Yeah.
You're going through the process.
Yeah.
So what did the work look like for you? What were the things that you were doing? I guess because whether there's men or women out there struggling with, I guess, purpose or even identity, 'cause that sounds like, I guess, what you were going through was like really trying to find yourself. What were the things that you did that sort of helped you to, I guess, take hold of that and then really be able to trust yourself to, well, especially do what you're doing now, but then even like trust men again and trust within relationships again?
Yeah. The men thing only happened really last year.
Yeah.
The full trust back in that. But the journey, my best friend, I met her name's Natasha actually, and she I met her just before I broke up with my ex. And she is the most amazing soul. Honestly, she's like my guardian angel, right? And it does make me quite emotional because she was by my side. She like just helped me. And I think having her there just made me more confident. But again, I didn't know what it was. I think I actually always wanted to be a PT. And funny thing, back to when I was in that relationship, when I was studying to be a PT, my ex goes, "You won't finish." She didn't believe in me. So I've just come from an upbringing of no one believing in me, no one coming to my sport games. You know, I was really good at sports back in the day. So I was really good at athletics. I went to state for running, and I went to state for long jump. I went to state for softball. So, you know, and any sport I did, I was really good at. But, you know, no one, smashed it, right? But I remember mum having late nights and, you know, not being awake for my games the next day. And then my mum's boyfriend at the time would come to my game and then they'd break up. So I was like, you know, when I finally had someone to come, right? So this whole thing, and I know I'm going on tangent because it brings it back to this connective, right? So, then even with my ex, he never seen me, you know, and my brother and I have an older brother, same shit. Everyone just used to go, "Oh, because you're showing your nipples today, you're a slut," right? People have this perception and they categorize you. And I was categorized for my whole entire life. So then I was like, how do I get out of this? So then, when I finally stepped into this power of being alone, I remember having my apartment. I moved into this apartment on the Sunshine Coast and having all of my furniture. And I remember sitting on my bed going, like, this is mine.
I created this. I built this.
I built this. Like looking around going, I bought everything in this apartment.
Beautiful feeling.
Oh my God. Like it was the best feeling in the fucking world and I needed it. Yeah. Like that year of living alone. Like I remember, I mean, you know, you look at me now and again, like back then I was so different. I was having my cheat meal at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. If I wouldn't. Calorie counting. She was bang on. Like everything was to the detail. But my body's the best it's ever been now. Ever than it was back before, right? Yeah. But I was just so caught up in this. There was actually another form of anxiety, right? Where I'm just like to the detail, but I needed to live alone. Like I needed that to kind of reset. So yeah, Tash came in and she just fucking gave me the confidence just to having a best friend who was just doing some cool shit. And then we actually started a little business together called the Everyday Women, where we used to just be raw online and, you know, this whole that is where the healing journey began. But I thought it was PT that I always wanted to do. Yeah. But it wasn't.
It was just part of the purpose.
Part of the purpose, yeah. So then, I think it carried through and I was managing Good Life at the time, doing sales and all that stuff. Yeah. But then just before COVID, I was like, man, I want to be a life coach. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I just want to be a life coach. I just want to help people. And this old PT O2 performance in the Sunny Coast, he goes, hey, you should go study this course with such and such. And I was like, called her up and I was like, hey, I want to do your next course, NLP. Tries to be sales with me. And I was like, you don't need to be sales with me. I'm doing the course. We're on. Yeah. I didn't even know what I was going for.
Yeah. You just felt cool to do it, right?
100%. Yeah. Like, and I remember the first day, because it's NLPs, there's a lot of around sales in there as well.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like, fuck, I don't need to be taught sales. Like, I used to manage sales. Like, I can fucking sell ice to an Eskimo, right? Yeah. So, but then this was a big moment for me because what I used to do, I used to walk into a room of people and I would always judge how everyone looked. And if anyone was better looking than me, I thought that they were better than me.
Yeah, you put them on a pedestal, right? It's like you're categorizing almost.
Yeah. So I remember walking into the room there was about over 50 students and then the facilitators. And I'm looking into the room and I was like, all right, like some good looking people here. Yeah, you got better ass than me. You got better skin than me. Right?
You go for the assets.
Yeah, you go for the assets. But there was one facilitator and I thought she was better looking than me. Anyway, 2 days into the course, we're sitting there and I go, fuck it. I put my hand up. I said, hey, can I just be honest? She goes, yeah, sure. Stand up. And I was like, told her what I did, the exact thing. She goes, come up to the stage. And I was like, all right, what the fuck? Stand up on the stage. She goes, all right, Rhiannon, I want you to pick out the 3 women in the crowd who you think's better looking than you. And I was like, oh, okay. Her, and her, the facilitator. Yeah. She goes to this guy, stand up. I want you to tell Rhiannon who you think's better looking than her. And he's like, her, the girl that I thought in my mind was better looking than me. She goes, all right, Rhiannon, go sit down. And I was like, the fuck was that? It's like a punch in the face. And I sat there and I was like, what was that? I didn't even know what I'd learned from that.
Right.
But then it was the very last day. In fact, this is where I take all my clients on the very first session is with their inner child. And we did this big thing. And the day before the course finished was the day before my birthday. So it was, pretty much. Oh, no, that was hypno. It was around my birthday. Anyway, this last day, they take it on this deep meditation hypno session. And I just held little Rhiannon in my arms and I fucking bawled my eyes out. Just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And then I said to myself that day, that's it. Rebirth, Rhiannon 2.0 comes after my birthday.
The old you, in with the new.
Death.
Yep.
And then I was the only one out of all those students who actually started coaching.
Wow.
Like it was.
Just like doing a PT course, right?
Yeah.
50 people sign up, 3 people get a job.
Exactly right. Actually do something with it. I mean, some of them are now, but I was like, bam, straight into that day, the next day.
Yeah.
And I lost my thing because I was just thinking about my inner child then. There we go. Back on track. So kind of the thing with the journey, I didn't even know what it was, why I went there. I learned some things, but the thing that I learned most there was just to love me. And all I did was be brave when I put my hand up in the air. I had courage to step up and tell everyone that I was judging them.
Yeah.
When I walked into the room.
That's fucking huge, man.
And that's
a scary thing to do, bro.
You know, it is.
Just putting your hand up in general, like in a room full of people you don't fucking know, is a scary thing.
Yeah.
For so many people, that's a fearful thing, right?
It's a very fearful
thing. Fear of judgment. Yeah. You were judging them. Fear of embarrassment, fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of, whatever might come up.
Yeah.
But then to do it actually and go, hey, look, I'm judging every single one of you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And I think, that's what we need to realize as humans is that everyone does it. I don't, we're only because we're looking, that's just what you do, right? But the thing to be better and to grow is to show brave, it's just to be brave and step more into you, right? So I was brave when I put my hand up, and then I held my little me, and that was it. And that was my journey. And then all the little things that I just knew, I just connected the dots together and moved into this coaching space, right? But back then I used to think you needed all the details and you had to, your dots, your I's dotted and your T's crossed. And it ain't like that. It's just about what you feel most confident within yourself. That's why I like wearing good outfits too, because I, look good, feel good.
Obviously.
100%. So you got your haircut today.
100%. You got a bit of a follow. You got to make it for him,
Absolutely.
So something you said then was that you used to judge people. Is that still something you do to this day? Or if it isn't, what was, I guess, the turning point for you with that? Was it the inner child journey, or was there something else that you sort of did to sort of simmer that down? Because I feel like that's something that a lot of us do. And that judgment actually really stops us from having connection with people. Because if you're judging other people, you're going, well, I don't think they'll get along with me. They're not my kind of person. That's really like almost weeding out so many people that you could have a deep, genuine connection with. Yeah,
really good question. There could be a negative connotation around judgment, right? But hand on heart, I see love in everybody. And I do, right? So when I meet someone, I'm only judging them by the thing that I see in them, and that's love. But most people are caught up in their trauma that they're too embarrassed or nervous to step into it, right? So I just go, hey, that's why I always compliment people. You ask my mates, Rhiannon always has something nice to say about someone. That's what they'd say, because I see something nice in everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just changing someone's perception at that drop of a hat, because they're normally judging us. And I know I used to judge people. So I'm showing you that there is love in everybody. Even in the people that, the really, really bad people, there's always love. Yeah, but sometimes it's like barbed wire, right? So I'm judging, but I'm judging on your love. Not based on me going, oh, you're better looking than I am. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, now let's go on to some of the fun stuff.
I
really get into the dating side of things, the relationship coaching side of things, but especially for the men, which obviously most of my demographic is that listen to this podcast. I want to know, what do women want? What is it that women want, and how can men show the fuck up to give it to them? Because, like you said, the biggest thing we're all looking for, I don't give a fuck what you say, is love. And if you say you're not looking for love, you're just broken. Simple as that. Yeah. Right? Because that is one of our basic human needs, love and connection. That we're all on the journey to attain some sort of love and feel loved and have that other person we can share our life with, right? And I feel like because of that, a lot of us settle for things that I guess are below what we want, because we're so desperate to get that love that we never felt from someone else. Yeah. So what is it that I guess women really want from men, and how can they show up to do that?
This is honestly what a beautiful conversation, right? So going back to the basic human needs, it is humans are made. We're here for connection. In fact, we're born with two things. We're born with the fear of falling, and we're born with love. Yeah. Which means we create everything else.
The need for love. Everything else is something that it's a construct. It's literally a construct. Something that we've created in our journey.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So, if we could bottle up love in a pill, fuck me, we'd heal the whole world, right? Love purely is a healing, it's a healing potion. So what do women want? Well, it's like, and honestly, I'm really fucking in the middle of it. I'm like, I'm both sides. I'm not, not for men, not for women. I'm for the right. So that's why when I'm coaching individuals, it is about helping the individual be the best versions of themselves so they don't hold judgment on anyone else. Okay. So what do women want? So most women, we can tap into our emotions really easy, because that's just, we're built that way. Yep. Men, as you know, men are built to not show emotions, which is a fucking skew.
I don't know if they're not built to not show emotions. We're
programmed
with that from society.
Exactly.
Not
boys built.
Don't cry. Don't be a little bitch. If a girl sees you like that, what do you think she's going to think of you? Yeah. We get told not to be vulnerable by the people that were before us, because that's what they got taught. It's only because they've been taught that by the people before them that now it's been carried down the line. But I feel like there is a big shift happening where men are becoming more vulnerable, but they're struggling with that because they don't know how to feel.
Yeah. And, bang on. There's the whole stoicism, that stoic man. Do you know that you can show emotion as a stoic man and not be weak, right?
I think that it's actually a powerful thing.
Oh, my God.
Vulnerability is such a beautiful thing, and being able to feel emotion as a man is fucking strong, because in fear of judgment or what other people think, you're still speaking your authentic self. You're still showing your emotions, which could be seen as you're a little bitch, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, look, very simply to answer that question, what do women want in a man? We want a man to see the woman for who she is, right? So there's so many masks, the women wear makeup, all those types, not just the topical stuff, but the internal stuff. But for a man to see a woman and for a woman to see a man, they really need to be seeing themselves. So that's pretty simple. So
simple, but not easy.
Correct, right? It's like leading with love. You know what you should always be the notion of that when you look down, I was like, fuck, are we running out of time?
No,
We're definitely
I wanted to see what time that was at.
Yeah.
So I want to get some content out of that for the reels.
Sick.
What we're talking about right now, gold.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, put me back on track. Yeah, cool.
So what do women want?
Yeah, what women want. So
they want to be seen.
We want to be seen. Now, I actually had this interesting conversation with some guys the other day, and I said to them, this is about relationships, they're single. And I go, all right, guys, now if you're single, would you, one of them didn't have Instagram, right? So, good on him. You don't need social media. If your business isn't online, who cares, right? But I was like, would you date a woman that had a following? Would you date a woman that had a following like myself? And he goes, no. And I go, okay, but you know me, right? Yeah, I know you. Okay, but you wouldn't date me because of my Instagram. No. Okay. Whoa. How? I was like, I'm going to replay that for you so you can actually hear this back. So am I a good woman? Yeah, you're you're awesome. And are you attracted to me? Do you think that I'd be a good girlfriend? Yes. Then why does my Instagram matter? Oh, yeah, because you're insecure.
Your own insecurities.
Correct. So most people they don't even get it. Yep. And I was like, okay, here's another one. So one of my girlfriends, Mel, I've been wearing her bikinis for 5 years now. She makes them. And I post bikini photos purely because I'm helping her brand, right? Yeah. Now there are thirst trap photos and then there is product photos, right? So there is a big difference. Anyway, so I was like, if I post a bikini photo, how do you feel about that? Nah, he goes, what about if I liked a girl's photo? And I was like, you're really not comparing apples with apples because I'm not going around liking all these men's photos to show that I'm interested in you. I am posting a product photo of a bikini, and because you know me, you know what it's for. So why you get here and then he's honestly, I was blowing his mind in this conversation, right? So when it comes back down to the simplicity of if you're not using me, we're using other women and men. So if you're in a relationship and the woman's posting thirst trap photos and men are liking girls' photos and there's no communication and you're doing it because you can't communicate and you're seeking external.
You're seeking the validation from somewhere else.
Well, then no shit, that's fucked up, right? Talk about your shit, it will help your problems. But when it comes back down to the basic human needs, you need to perceptions, projections. So I always remind people, if you're projecting your own perception of yourself onto me. So the insecurity comes from him, the bikini photo. I don't want men wanting her because she's not going to want me. Yeah. So this whole language, and this is, I love and I love relationships, but the love with the person is so much more important, and that's where you have to begin with. So when we go, what do women want? It's such as, or what do men want? We just want the person or the human to be their most authentic self. Right. Show up as you, and we love that. I didn't get, show me all your nuts and bolts, all the things. In fact, when I do a first date, if I was on a dating app, I might tell me your fears. What do you like? What do you do? What are your values? Like,
These are the conversations that need to be had.
100%.
I'm pretty sure the first time me and my partner actually caught up before we even started dating, these were the conversations we were having, just to sort of identify where are we at? Because then there's really nothing getting left behind. I was sharing my past. She was telling me about her childhood and her past. That's a good conversation. That there is deep connection because it's I feel like I know who this person is.
Yeah.
It's starting to get the numb. Rather than going on a fucking date, drinking piss, talking shit, having banter. Banter is great, but you want to know the person first.
Yeah. And we know, men and women we're built differently. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So true. We are emotional. So when, men can fuck topically. You look at tits and an ass, like you said, you follow via the thirst trap before, or, from thirst, because men see what they like. They're like, yeah. And women do obviously the same. But women, to be turned on and stimulated, we come from a whole different place. So if in this conversation between men and women, if the man is not hitting the woman emotionally, then it's only going to be either a one night thing or a conversation that doesn't go anywhere because you haven't wanted to take the time to learn about her.
Yeah, you're not taking the time to get to know the person.
Exactly. Yeah. So men need to go in and ask the questions, be intrigued, want to learn more about her, ask questions that are deeper than going, what do you like to do on the weekends? You know, or what gym do you go to? I don't know, like just stupid shit like that.
Yeah, what did you
right?
train today?
Yeah. Oh my God, that question. I mean, that just, you know, that's gap fillers.
Yeah.
Gap fillers. So, you know, but again, what are you seeking? What are people actually seeking? People think they want a relationship and then they don't because they're scared.
I think a big part of that as well is a lot of the time people are looking for a relationship or looking for a partner from the wrong place. They're looking for what they're missing within themselves because once again, they can't love themselves and they're trying to find that from someone else. So someone else, that person gives them the love and it's like, hey, I've had my need met now and it lasts for a little while, but then the spark fizzles out because things get hard.
They do.
Like I was just talking about this off air with you a little bit. Like me and my partner, we're going through a stage where I have to do a lot of work for myself now to show up as the man that I need to be. Right. And that can become very uncomfortable. Yeah. You know, especially for, you know, a lot of men out there that haven't actually started that process. When the girl goes, hey, look, I need to be loved like this. And then you're not showing up like this, they take it personally. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, you're not the person for me.
Yeah.
It's more so, hey, I'm telling you how to love me so you can show up as a better human.
Love languages are fucking important. Like you know, there's people like, oh, love languages. No. Like that is for me, it's communication. Like words of affirmation is huge for me. So
would you say that's your love language?
So words of affirmation and quality time are my two important ones. The rest, probably, I hate giving gifts. It's my least favorite, but I also obviously like receiving gifts. Anyone out there? No. Just saying. It's my birthday next week. 2 weeks. So no, but you need to understand. Yeah, right. Slips it in the notes below. Thank you. You know, you need to know what they want, right? So. And that takes, most people want to give the person that the love language that they are.
Yeah, they show love the way they want to receive love.
Yes, right? Yeah. So unless you're communicating that and being aware of that, it ain't going to change.
That's a deep conversation, right? Even just that alone. Once again, this is something that me and Lake and my partner spoke about, I think on our first date, right? Like we were stuck up a mountain for 6 hours in that fuck off storm on Christmas Eve. That was our first date.
Oh, hey, how beautiful is that?
Honestly, it's fucking wild. It was meant to be, literally.
Yeah, it was.
But that was one of the conversations we had. Like, how do you, what are your love language? English.
Love language,
Love
Speak
language.
English.
What are your love languages? And that, once again, that's okay, cool. Now we're getting to know what you actually need and want rather than just making assumptions.
Yeah.
That's the big thing I think that a lot of people struggle with is they assume in relationships that the way they're showing up is the way that they need to show up for that other person without actually having that conversation.
100%. And, you know, people, you know, there's this whole like smokes and mirrors, having the nice car, dressing in the nice clothes, the designer things, all those stuff. And like, yes, if you are living within your means and you can afford that and it makes you feel good, by all means do it. But we don't want that. It's obviously a nice luxury, but if you're really, you're struggling to survive, to paint this picture, then we don't want that, right?
Yeah, we're in a Rolex, but your fucking car's on fucking finance.
Exactly.
You're fucking using a credit card to pay for dinner.
Yeah, all those things, right? So the most important thing is just to be authentic and show up as you, and just don't be afraid to ask those questions, like, you know, the stuff like, you know, being caught on the mountain, talking about love languages on your first date, like that's a really fucking beautiful thing.
Yeah, bro.
And
honestly, so cool, eh?
It is. And you know what? I've been single 6.5 years, which does baffle most people because they're like, oh, you know, if you're in this space and you're coaching and you're doing these events and, you know, look at you, you're cool, or whatever, you know. Well, I might be some people's cup of tea and obviously others not. But I bring this side out in people because at the end of the day, of course, I love help facilitating change, but sometimes it can be too much for people. And finding someone like in that realm where they are aware and doing all those things, but also there's that compatibility, it's quite a hard space for me, right?
Once you start to look for people that are number one, aware, number two, ready to do the work, number three are, I guess, you know, emotionally intelligent and mature. You've just really narrowed down the focus of people. Like you've gone from fucking shooting fish in a barrel, you know, to literally like dime a dozen. Few and far between.
Literally, right? And okay, so I know I mentioned OnlyFans way back at the very beginning, right? Because I matched the guy on Hinge, which I'm not on anymore, but I matched the guy on Hinge that I knew from the sunny coast. And he's younger and really good looking guy. And nothing ever happened before, but then slid into the DMs, we started connecting from Hinge, and then took it to Instagram, and then I was like straight up, cool, where are you taking me on a date? You know, like, let's go. And he goes, sorry, I actually don't date women in your industry. And I just liked the comment. I didn't even reply. And I was like, that's a very narrow-minded response, right? Because one, if you actually know who I am, what I do and why I do what I do, that wouldn't even bother you. And that's why I had to say I don't do porn, because sex for me, and I don't give a fuck if you do porn online, by the way. You make a lot of money and that is you. And we know Dale's, you know, and I fucking love Dale and his story.
He is beautiful.
He's a beautiful man. And I know women as well that do that too.
Yeah.
But it definitely does. It can make things hard, right? But at the end of the day, what's more important to you? And that's you, right? But for me, and because of my past and what I've dealt with, it's a very sacred spot for me. Sacred place. In fact, that was my journey with this whole men thing. I've, you know, men a lot growing up, you know, men have tried to put it on me and I've just fought. Like I've been a fighter my whole life. I remember punching some guy in the face, and I was at the swing at the park when I was really little, like younger than 10, because he tried to rub my shoulders. I had a man lock the door in a house, like that coaxed me, my friend at the time, again below 10, in a room, locked the door, and I took a spade and running down the street, right? And the man got his dick out. Like this is like just trying to proposition all these older men, right? And watching men with my mum, abusive, just these things. And I was an angry girl, angry child, right?
That would have obviously bred some sort of resentment towards men in general because of that understanding that you had. Well, it's like those first 1 to 7 years is like, this is where we're learning behavior. Yeah. Right? Then 7 up to like, let's say like, you know, 20. Now we're starting to get ingrained with all the experiences that we have through life. Yeah. And your experience with men up until that point didn't sound like they were the best.
No, right. And it's such, my journey needed to be my journey. I needed to, so when I was 17, my very first boyfriend, I was in love with him, he was in the army. And I was at the peak of my fucking insecurities. Because that's, again, my mom and my mom's twin fucking fucked me up. So I remember walking down the stairs. I was meant to go to bed and I walked down the stairs and he was masturbating to porn, right? And I cried for days, didn't let him touch me for days because I felt fucked. And I had two options. I either sink or swim, right? So from that day on, I then watched so much porn. I then became addicted to porn because at that time I was like, I need to learn about what made me so sad that day, never make it hurt me again. And then this girl, this old Zoo model, right? Emily Scott, her name was, and beautiful, right? And my boyfriend at the time, who was masturbating, that I caught, he followed when Facebook just became a thing. He followed her on Facebook, and she had these big ass titties, and big ass titties, and I was like, I need fake tits, like I was like, he wants her over me, like, because again, I was just fucked up, so I went and got fake tits, and then we went together, and then the journey of doing Zoo and Ralph because she was in Zoo, right? So I just had to do anything that's fucked me up in my life, I had to learn about it, right? So I had to be addicted to porn. I had to do men's stuff. I had to get attention by men. I had to learn this whole space, and then did OnlyFans to be in the space of knowing I know everyone in the industry, because before I would get intimidated or insecure around really good looking people. Right? Because I was insecure. And it's not that I wasn't good looking. We just know this. Generally the most, you know, the ones that we all think are really pretty, the most insecure. Yeah. Right?
Right. Exactly right. Because they're doing all these things to make themselves, to almost increase their market value.
Yeah.
When really, when it comes down to market value, it's who you actually are as a human.
100%, right?
Like, you know, fake tits and lashes and all that sort of stuff isn't going to change that.
It isn't. Yeah. And I'm going to say this, like now, I remember emailing when I got my tits done because I was really big and I wanted them smaller, and I was like crying because I'm like, now I'm the titty girl. I used to be the personality girl. Swear to God. Oh my God. Make your mind up, bitch. Because, you know, like, but, you know, this.
Sort it out, Riri.
Sort it out, fucking Riri. But this whole journey has been, for me, like I needed to learn all the skills. So when I get a comment like that from that guy who was obviously interested, by the way, he goes, you're you're so cool, this or that, but I can't date a girl in the industry. I was like, man, you don't know my journey. And you know what? You're not even worth my time to know about my journey if you're judging me based on something that's so fucking narrow-minded.
I think that's okay, first of all, they're taking judgment on one sort of thing. Second of all, why not ask the question, what is it that you get out of this? Because that'll help you to understand, right? Yeah. This is where I feel a lot of people fall short when it comes to relationships, when it comes to just even dating or anything like that. It's like, just ask the fucking questions. If you want to know something, don't make an assumption. Which is something I still struggle with to this day. Me and my partner, I'll make an assumption about something. It's like, fuck, I've done the thing again. I've just assumed this about you. this is how I felt because X, Y, and Z. That's not the case, though, is it? No, it isn't. And it like sort of brings you back to where you need to be.
That is powerful. Can we just quickly zoom in on that?
Yeah.
The assumption.
Yeah, assumption is is the mother of all fuck ups.
It honestly is.
Yeah.
So what now? Like that is what women want.
Yeah.
We want men not to assume and to ask the questions. Same with women. You know, if you have a nice car and you don't have a job, you're a drug dealer, right?
Yeah.
No, you're not. Maybe you come from money. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you're in Bitcoin.
You're still a dick if you come from money usually, but anyway.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
There's the assumption again.
Yeah, exactly right. Prime.
Oh.
Pulled out on that, yeah, straight up.
There we go.
Yeah, cool. Well, okay, with the assumption side of things, can I ask then, so what is OnlyFans for you? Because you said it's obviously a sacred place for you. It's something that's actually helped you with your healing journey. Whereas a lot of men would see OnlyFans as a negative thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, for me, it's created freedom. Right. Okay. So I actually don't make a lot of money from it. I really don't. It's just there. It pays for some of my bills. Happy days, right?
Yeah.
But I do. So there's my taboo side. I have a taboo side. You know, we all have our kinks and our things that we really like. I really get turned on when I'm really wanted.
Yeah.
Fuck, it turns me on so much. And it's really interesting because I'm single. I'm not seeing anyone at the moment. And when I love someone, it's a whole. So when I'm into someone too, that whole needing to being turned on by being wanted is not, and I don't want these people, by the way. Like none of them I want, but I get really turned on about being wanted.
Yeah, it's almost like a little bit of validation, but it helps you stop seeking it in other ways, would you say?
Yeah, it's just like, you know, I enjoy it sometimes. But at the same time, it's just serving a purpose for freedom, for me to do all the things that I want to do. There are, you know, and if I was to be in a relationship, meet my dream man today, and we're together, I'd get rid of OnlyFans. Yep. It's just like it's just serving a purpose because I'm doing so many different things at the moment, and I think I mentioned this on my Instagram a little while ago. I'm doing all these things, but I'm trying to now put it into a space where I'm like narrowing it down to where I want to be, where I'm getting all my money from. Because I'm still doing this. I'm still learning about the thing that I really want to do.
Yeah.
Because I really want to create something very unique that incorporates love and connection and fun and, you know, excitement and like the thrill and music and all this stuff. So, you know, I'm putting all these things in the pipeline at the moment that's going to bring to this point.
Yeah.
And that's why I have to do all these little things to serve its purpose. So
keep opening doors.
And hey, fuck, the human body is an incredible thing. Oh, you know what I'd love? I would love to have 100 men in a room with their dicks out, and I just like I look at all their dicks and just go, oh, it's just for science purposes. Yeah. Same with the vaginas.
This is for research purposes only, I swear.
Research purposes only. Literally.
I love it.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to ask as well, because once again, dating apps. Okay, so you said you're not on dating apps any longer, but you were at one point in time. So what are your thoughts around dating apps? And do you think that you can actually find a healthy and loving relationship through the likes of Tinder or Hinge or anything like that?
Look, I feel like it's a needle in a haystack. I feel like it's just all it's done is going, hey, here is a platform like my events. Here is a platform or a space that you're able to meet someone. Now you do something with it now, right? But most people are like, or like they dip their foot in, they're like, shit, that's too much. Oh, it's too hot. I'm scared. I'm backing away, right? Because I do know people. In fact, Tash, the girl from the Sunny Coast, my best mate, she met her man, who they're now engaged, off Tinder. And they've been together for 8, 9, maybe 10 years now.
Wow. Okay.
So there are successful stories, right? You just have to be brave. But this generation, and now like the more social things that are being put out there, people just think there's options. So, you know, yes, you can, but I believe in energy.
I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. And no one, you can say the best thing online, but if you can't do it in person, or if you're nervous or whatever it might be, it's completely different. So, you know, that's why I love the events.
Yeah, fair. So I'm very much of a similar belief to you with that. So obviously energy is everything. When I met my partner, I said I wasn't going to meet anyone online. We spoke about this off air. She's actually someone I did meet online, but we completely forgot about each other. Ran into each other organically, and that was where this beautiful thing started. But with the meeting people online, like you said, you can be anyone you want. But then you can meet the person, they can be someone completely different. And so for me, when I was on the dating apps years ago, I found that I was only using it as a way of getting validated.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, someone likes me. That's pretty cool. Like, you know, I feel good about myself. But just like any other form of external validation, this is why me personally, especially with the men that I work with, I'm like, hey, fuck the dating apps off. Because right now, you're only using it for one thing. You're looking for sex as a coping mechanism, and you're also using it to get externally validated through girls liking you, X, Y, and Z. Same as if you're on social media and you're uploading topless photos and shit like that. It's an external validation source, right?
Absolutely.
And the more that you get validation from that thing, the more of that thing you need to validate. When really we just need to learn to validate selves.
Yeah.
So for me, like that's why I guess dating apps for me is something that I think have really ruined the dating scene, because there are always the people there that are using it for the right reasons.
Yep.
But I feel that it actually has been bastardized and taken away. So now it's like, okay, cool. It's a platform for hookups for people that are looking for that quick route or that quick validation, right?
Yeah. If there was an app that made people go through a whole process of, filling out a questionnaire, doing these things, that made it way harder than for just to sign up and go boom, boom, boom.
That's called seeking arrangement.
Yeah. So anyone who's out there, go on seeking. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, what I'm saying. So it's just it's just a pool of mixed people, ones that really want relationships and ones that don't. So what happens as well is men are looking at the women that are really good looking, and also women are doing the same thing because
they're looking for the 10% of the market.
That's all we can see.
90%, right?
Yeah. But because women need that emotional stimulation, we're basing off topical shit. So again, if there's no conversation, that it just goes nowhere. But again, it can. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's just there's too much shit in there. And anyway, off topic. You hit me with seeking arrangements.
Yeah. I want to go more into the dating side of things now. So you're running these events for like singles. We hope. Anyways, for singles, and we don't judge. Yeah. Singles that are wanting to meet people. But I know that for a lot of men and women, these first dates can be awkward. So what advice would you give to men that are looking for that, are about to go on this first date, to not be so awkward? What are the sort of icebreaker questions that you hear, or what are some really cool things that you've seen in the events that you're running to help sort of break that ice?
You know what all it is?
What?
Hey, I'm really nervous. Holy shit, I'm so nervous today. Yeah. By the way, I was, I had to change my shirt 2 times because I was sweating so much. That's it. Like, people just stepping in and being vulnerable and authentic and real.
Yeah.
No one had to go, okay, like there's no question, there's no nothing. Just go, I'm fucking me, You just reminded me, it was really funny. They actually blocked it out, but it was on a TV show, 2018. It was a dating show. It was just a 1 episode type of thing. But I remember I walked out, it was this bikini round, and I stepped out and I was like, I was so nervous that I almost wet myself before I walked out on stage, and then they cut it out. But I was like, people just love people.
People didn't see that. So be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable. Yeah. So there's no right thing to say. Just step in and just say it how it is, because people love that.
Yeah. And in the way of dates, okay, what's your idea of a first date? Like, what would be your ideal first date? Because I mean, Tinder dinner dates and going to the Ferris wheel in Brisbane and shit like that. This stuff's all been done through and through. What would be your ideal first date?
Oh, good question. Do you know that I haven't been on a date in such a long time?
Yeah, 6.5 years. You said you've been on dates in that time?
I have. I mean, there's no one that I have no fuck buddies now, right? Back in the day, I used to. Yeah. The last date I went on was over a year ago, and that was when I started the blind dating, and I was doing this whole thing. So what's my ideal first date? Shit, you know what? Look, I like so I'm trying to think of what's that route? There's that not Holy Moly, the other one where you can go and do the clues and things like that, but you can drink at the same time.
What are they called? Fucking
the hijinks. There's like that
hijinks hotel, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So like something fun, because I like having a drink, and I feel like for me it can't calms anyone's nerves, right? So something fun and challenging, because I am very competitive. So one, if this man can't get my competitive, or doesn't let me win. That's
that's right. That's a game changer, right?
Yeah. No, actually, I love a challenge. So anything that's going to put a challenge to me, right? So those types of things are fun. But I do just like, going to dinner and having a drink and some food, right? Anything that's more lighthearted. You don't have to be too serious. So I think the first date for me would be more light. Look at me. I'm going into all these things because I haven't been on a date before. And it's really funny you asked that question. And now I'm getting a little bit nervous about it, because I don't know, and I constantly change. And I'm trying to think, if someone was to take me out on a date right now, what would it be? Do you know what? Actually, you know what it used to be? I used to take men on mountain climbs.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, though.
No, but you're trying to have a conversation up a hill, and you're like, so like, do you like mountain climbing?
It's a good test of fitness. I mean, if that's how you're doing up the mountain, imagine how you're going to be in the bedroom.
Hey, true.
Next.
Well, I was the one that was puffing, so like,
I wasn't saying then.
it's easy. Well, it's easier to put something in a hole than it is to the other way around. Just saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. First date, something fun, lighthearted.
Yeah.
For me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's
Surprise. Sorry. Wait. Put my hand up.
Yeah. I'm here for it. Yeah.
Okay. I just come to me because now I remember I want a man just to take charge. So if he said to me, I'm going to give you 3 options, right? So out of these 3 options, which one would you prefer? And it could be like a day and a night option. What, la, 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 la. I would love a man to go, okay, I'm taking you here. I'm going to pick you up at this time. I think you should wear something like this, you know, whether it's heels or flat shoes, and let me do everything. He picks me up and then he's like, I've got you. Oh my God, a panty dropper, done, moist, dripping, like, holy shit. And then just take charge of the date. I don't want to have to get to pay and go, oh, am I like, who's paying? I've got you. First date, just take charge. I didn't give a fuck. We could go to I didn't get, you know what? In fact, I didn't care where it is as long as you just did it. Because that is so beautiful. Yeah.
I think that's what answered my next question, which was what's the most important part of the first date, which should, I guess you just answered that, right? It's taking charge.
Yeah, because I want to be nurtured. I'm like, you know, I've been fighting my whole life, fighting men and everything, right? So if I want to be looked after, I want to be like cradled essentially, like literally baby fed. I want to ooze into my feminine. I can drop into my mask so easy. This power, this big energy, this fuck off like blah. But I want to be the softer side, and that's really hard for me to get into, especially if I don't trust or believe in your integrity or believe that this is a safe zone. Right. So if you take power and take charge in the most beautiful way. Like, you know, because you can take charge and be aggressive, or you can take charge like, this is safe, babe.
Nurturing, right? Yeah.
Man. And then follow through with these questions like, I don't judge. Like, hey, cool, tell me about you. Wow. And they're just like, wow, you know, you're you. And how cool that you've done all that stuff and you've created this person. And I look at, you know, and that's kind of what I do with men too. Like, you know, look at who you are. Like, well, everyone, by the way, that's why I said when I'm judging people, it's based off the things that I see, like the little thing that they're not seeing. So yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Who wants to date me now?
Yeah, we're putting offers out.
Yeah, awesome. All right, sweet. I'll be waiting. DM's going to blow up after this.
So something you said then as well, and this is something that me and my partner have spoken about a lot recently, is feeling safe within a relationship. How does a man make a woman feel safe? Yeah.
How does a man make a woman feel safe? All it is just say, like, I've got you. But just from a way of, like, there's obviously, I mean, define safe for anyone. It could be, I want you to be stronger and I want you to fight for me. That's what, maybe someone wants that. Maybe they just want to go, hey, I've got you in this aspect. Just knowing your role. Like, because, you know, I guess this day and age, some women make a lot of money. So they don't need to be looked after in the way that, you know, maybe back in the day with that, you know, the demographic change, right? So it's not about protection of money or protection of strength or protection of what. It's just knowing your place and being comfortable in that place. So I don't like to cook. I hate cooking. I love eating, but I just don't cook, right? But back in the, you know, for most thing, you know, in the olden days, women had to cook. I do like to clean. I don't cook, I don't clean. But you know that song, WAP. But yeah, you know, I know what I provide in someone needs to see what I provide instead of judging me off not cooking. So yeah, you know where I'm going with that. Yeah, knowing your place.
And so for any men that want to start to learn more about, I guess, you know, becoming better men or showing up within a relationship in a different way, have you got any resources that you could recommend, like books, podcasts, anything like that have helped you or that you've used to help other clients?
Yeah, I mean, there are some really good men's groups around the GC, and I feel like you probably would know those groups better than I have. I had red hair at the time, so you can imagine it was a long time ago.
Sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, they did a co-ed day, and they did this breath work in the rocks in like Springbrook or something like that. But they were a men's group, but I forget the name. But that was really good. I will have to give you my list of books here, but
I'll chuck it in the show notes.
Yeah, awesome. One of my favorite books to this day is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey.
Beautiful book.
And you got to listen to it though. The way he explains when he meets his wife Camilla, she's in this green dress. Yeah. I got goosebumps and I just cried. Yeah. Like
looking at her from across the room, right?
Yeah. Oh my Lord, like just so I mean that's not gonna.
I'll listen to that twice back to back.
Yeah,
and audio, his voice is just something else.
Hypnotic, it really is hypnotic. The obstacle is the way is another big thing for me. The ego is the enemy.
These all books?
These are all books. I mean, I'll have to just I've listened to all Joe Dispenza's stuff as well. But again, it comes back to the very beginning and the start of the conversation was the individual. So for like everyone just needs to look within themselves to work on that thing, the roadblock that they have, and know that anytime someone's giving a judgment, it's purely based off their own thing that they need to work on. So that's where you start.
That's a fucking pretty pivotal moment right there, right? Is if you're judging others, what is it about yourself you have to fix?
Yeah, 100%.
Because that's the thing. At the end of the day, this journey of growth, it's an ongoing thing. You don't just do a little bit of work, read a couple of books, go to Tony Robbins' seminar, and then you're fixed.
Demons, be gone!
No, it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah,
and there's going to be more hiccups that pop up along the way.
And I think that exactly right. And that's why now at the man that you are, the growth that you've had, like that's why you're doing all this cool shit and you're such an epic human. But now you're going through the normal relationship issues, right?
Yeah, you can do it alone, right? But then you get into a relationship and then all this stuff gets mirrored back. It's like, oh, I thought I'd work through that. Apparently not.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So the journey never stops. The learning never stops. So just always be open to learning and change. And you can't box yourself.
Yeah, it's like adapting the mindset of a student. Always being willing to learn, right?
Grasshopper.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
So what's the big goals for you over the next couple of years? Obviously, you want to build something that has love, connection, fun, music. What are the things you're working towards specifically at the moment?
You know what? Like the goal for me, I want to change the world with love. Yeah. Like, I don't know. And you know, I don't know what it is. The vision, it's malleable, right? It always constantly changes. But the one thing that doesn't is connecting and love, right? So at the moment, I'm really into the entertainment scene, you know, the events. I MC at some clubs. I love music. So maybe something might be coming with, you know, Ricka, what? Yeah. We're coming up. So I'm still at a stage where I'm learning, right? So I'm grabbing the tools that I need to create something special. Cool. What that is, I do not know, but all I know is it's love and connection, and I want to heal the world in a way that it's fucking cool. Yeah. It's not like you don't have to be meditating or whatever. It's just something fun. Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
I love them.
Cool. And so if someone wants to come to one of your events or get in contact with you, what's the best way to do that?
Cool. So my Instagram, which I'm sure you'll put in the notes, but it's Rhiannon _Oloughlin, XOX. And then my business pages are in the bio. Yeah. The next singles event should be on the 17th of May at Cali Beach Club. Yeah, you'll follow the social medias for that one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for coming on, Rhea. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Amazing chat. I know there's going to be so much value that people are going to get out of this. And I mean, there's been a lot of little reminders and little, even triggering moments for me during this conversation. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Let's go.